Hello everyone and welcome to Real Talk with Odun. My name is Odun Akirele and as usual we are coming your way this afternoon, this evening, this morning, wherever you are on the planet. We are just excited to be coming your way. As usual, as you know we do on this show, we come your way every Saturdays with new topics about women, topics about what is going on in their life, their career, their business, their families, their children. I remember we had a very interesting episode where we talked to our younger ones and we had a lot of laugh. And one of my guests for today is actually one of our guests on that show. And I'm so excited to have her today because I remember the last time we cracked up really, really hard. So I also have a virtual guest, but before I introduce them, let me just give you a sneak peek of what we'll be talking about today. The topic for today is wife, mother, and a boss lady. Yes, you know, every woman is a boss. You're either a boss in your house, in your place of work, in the kitchen, wherever you are as a woman, you're a boss lady. And so today we'll be talking about being a wife, being a mother, and being a boss lady. Like I said earlier, I have a studio guest. She's one of our returnees. Her name is Kani Udo. She's a mom of 3. And she just celebrated her 20th marriage anniversary. That was, I think, the last time you came.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a few months ago. She moved to the United States of America from Nigeria as a teenager with her parents and 4 younger sisters. As the oldest of 5 girls, the importance of being a good role model was stressed early and often. She works in corporate finance with ExxonMobil and holds a Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. The Bachelor of Science was from MIT, I think. Yes, okay. And an MBA from the Harvard Business School. Yeah, she's an EFICO. She's what we call an EFICO back home in Nigeria. She's a working mom. Even as a working mom, she tries to balance career and family life, knowing that her kids are watching and taking notes. For fun, she enjoys watching and playing soccer with the kids. She likes football. You know, we like football in Nigeria, so yeah. So she's a typical Nigerian mom. I can tell you that. Welcome to the show, Akan.
Thank you.
So good to have you again today. Thank you for sitting with us as always.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, my virtual guest for today is a sister. She's a friend. She's a mother of boy. Her name is Abiodun Joseph. She's an accomplished senior clinical research associate. She's from Owo in Ondo State. And she has been living in the United States of America for more than 20 years. She has been involved in different women development programs and is also a keen advocate for equality for young women in Africa and within the United States. She is also a mentor to young girls that want to find their voices. And Abby, as she's always referred to, she's fondly called Abby by her friends and loved ones, is passionate about her work. She's passionate about her family, and most importantly, she's passionate about serving the Lord. She loves to praise the Lord with a velvet and smooth voice. Can you give us a do? Yes. So she has a velvet and smooth voice and has been married for 15 years to her best friend, and they are blessed with a son. Welcome to the show, Abe. We are so happy, so excited to have you on this show today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So I'm waiting for the door.
No! I'll send it to you via email. Right?
Okay. You can hear she has a velvet voice. A velvet voice is coming through even with a laugh. So we are still expecting the door. Okay? All right. Okay, so let's go straight to the business of the day. Like I said earlier, wife, mother, and the boss lady. So let me ask you a question, Akan. Who is a boss? Who is a wife?
Who's a wife?
Mm-hmm.
So I think a wife is the female part of the partnership.
Okay.
Typically, I think it's really just taking the home that God has given you and marching it forward in the way God has given you. So really being the other half of that partnership.
Yes, of the partnership.
Yeah.
So Abel, let me ask you the same thing. Being a mother, a wife, and a boss lady, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot of things, when it encompasses you as a woman, as you see yourself as a wife, meaning you're a helper to your husband, and as a mother, you're your baby's guidance in this world. The child is put in your life to guide by God to guide them through the basic things of life that life will throw at them, and you're supposed to grow with them and nurture them in the way of the Lord. But particularly as a wife, you're the woman of the house, and you own your space in the house, in your husband's house, and you are created, or you are joined together to that man to be a helper to him.
All right, thank you so much. So yes, you're created to be an helper to your partner, to the male of the house. But then, Abel, let me just ask you: are you allowed to be called a boss lady as a woman?
When you said boss lady, I feel like sometimes it could come off more. No, don't call me boss lady, because I feel like yeah, I feel like when you said the word boss, oh, I can't offend her because she's a boss. No, I just like to be neutral with everybody, and let my attitude and let my doing show and speak for itself.
Mm. Oh wow, that's deep. So your attitude, your way of life should actually speak for itself. You don't have to attach a title to it and say she's a boss
Nope.
lady. Oh wow, that's good. So okay, let me ask you the same thing. Do you think women should be referred to as boss lady? Now, I'm not saying boss lady in the secular world. I'm just saying, like, taking into consideration everything they need to juggle together. So can we call them boss lady?
I think I agree with that. It depends on the context. Like, if it's a joke, or the fact that you own your house or you own your space, like she said, then I don't see why not. I think if it is in the context of, oh, the boss, this trepidation and fear,
Yeah.
I agree that that's not the context you want.
Yeah.
But if like, you do want your kids to respect you, you want
Absolutely.
at work, depending on where you are on that ladder, you do want the respect that you show other people to be reflected back, but not in the trepidation and fear kind of way. Yeah. But that you have things under control. You can,
You're in charge.
with God's help, you can
take-
manage
yeah.
the things that He has given to you.
Wow, that's exactly what I was referring to when I said boss lady.
Yeah.
Because we know women put a lot of things together. We are created that way to function simultaneously and
Right.
do multiple things at the same time. So that's actually what I was saying when I said boss lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Abel, let me ask you, what do you think is the proper role of a woman? Can it be defined? Can we actually define the role of a woman?
To me, no, because when you say a role of a woman, then that means you're specific about that role. That means as a woman, you're only to do A, B, C, D, and E. What happens to the rest of the stuff? On the ladder. But a woman, I don't like to refer them as they have a role, because it puts a dent into the relationship that they're supposed to have with their husband. Because as I said earlier, a husband and a wife, they're made to be together, a partner. Be your husband's partner, your husband should be your partner. So, when you say role, then you're limited. Then that means a woman, you're only supposed to do certain things, and you can't think outside of the box. No, that's not, I don't see a woman having a role. I see a woman having to wear so many different hats at the same time, doing it with joy,
Joyful.
doing it
Yeah.
effortlessly, as well as, making everybody around her feel more comfortable. So I don't really like saying woman has a role. That's my own perspective.
Okay. Thank you so much. So, Ethan, what do you think about that?
Oh, I agree with that. I think, the proper role of a woman is to make sure that she fulfills what God put her on the earth to do.
To fulfill
which
purpose.
is, which is,
fulfill purpose,
hopefully the proper role of a man to, to be the partner in that relationship, to be the nourisher of her children, to be, if God has blessed you with the intellect, to reflect that in the world, to make, that's to.
Yeah, I agree with the both of you, because I
Yeah.
think as a woman we are placed in a particular place for a particular reason, and if you can actually fulfill and achieve that reason, you are actually playing your role.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I totally agree with you. So let me twist this question and ask: should you think a woman should work, or should they just stay at home? And because growing up, especially where we come from, we are groomed to think that, okay, as a woman, you're just supposed to take care of the home front, supposed to take care of the kids, and then your husband go out and be the provider, basically. So it's just the 20th century that is changing things now. So do you think?
I think it depends on your upbringing. So my mother always worked, and I'll preface this by saying that I don't think there's a right path. I don't think there's a forever path. So I have great friends that have chosen that while their kids are young, they want to stay home and not work. And that is the choice they have made for their family, and I think that's great. For me, as you know, I've chosen to work while I'm raising kids, and I think that has worked for me. So I want to maybe turn it around so that there tends to be sometimes in the world like this dichotomy with women who work versus women who stay home, and I think that's not right. So I think as one of the ways you ended it was, okay, as a working mom, what has been there are challenges, but as a mom that stays home, there's challenges too.
As well, yeah.
So for me, I've chosen to work because I feel that, again, that's part of my purpose. And in fulfilling my purpose, I work, but I make sure that the home front is good as well. Yeah. So I think it's, again, fulfilling your purpose as God has given it to you, and for every woman it's different.
Yeah, totally. So I have a same question. Do you think women should work, or should they just still stay in that what I even call it the 18th century, where they just stay home and not work and just take care of the home front, take care of the kids, take care of the husband, And I know some women are fulfilled doing that. They just feel they're okay doing that. But we know some people that really wants to work, but the husband is not letting them work. So do you think women should work, or should they just stay at home?
When I think about myself, I feel a woman working is very important, but at the same time, you have to take a deep look at your own situation, within your family. Will working outside of your home bring some kind of mesh in between your family, or will it create a dent or a void in between your family? You kind of have to understand, your husband. You have to understand your children. You might have children that might need more help of the mother being home. And I'll give you an example. I had a friend that has a challenge. Well, I won't say a challenged child. The child was born with a hole in her heart, and she's working. She's a working mom. And, fortunately for her, she's been going through, different kinds of challenges, with the hospital and everything like that. And it's very tough on her. But her husband and her, they both work. And the girl, she's just home with the mom, with the grandma. But, you can tell that the child is not happy. So 2 weeks ago, she told me, she was like, Abby, I have decided, to stop working. I'm quitting my job to stay home with my child because I feel like, she needs my attention. Yeah, she needs my attention. So in that aspect, I feel like a woman, you have to sit down and, sit back and say, do I need to step away from work for a minute to handle the situation that is going on in my home? Or do I just continue to work and just act as if it's not there? You know what I mean? I don't know if you understand where I'm coming from. But I feel like women working and women not working, it depends on what you have going on in your own home. Yes.
Yeah. I agree with that. There are some peculiar situations that is applicable to a particular person at that point in time. So we can't outrightly come out and say, yes, a woman should work, or yes, no, a woman should stay at home. We all have our own peculiar situations. So it's just a question that someone actually asked me, and I'm guessing she wants to work, and the husband was saying no. She didn't come outrightly to ask me, but I was wondering where that question was coming from. So we all have our peculiar situations. Let's move on.
That is
Absolutely.
concerning, though. If it's because, and I guess maybe I'll ask her to explore why the husband is saying no,
No.
um, because if if you're supposed to be a helpmate to your husband, and this is something that will fulfill you, and he's saying no, it's important in that partnership that they talk
About
about that,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
because if it's like
Yeah.
that's what why is he saying no,
No.
right?
Oh, I could actually mention a lot of reasons why African men say no. But let's not get into that today. Let's not get into that today because let's just move
No,
on.
no.
So now, Akan, you've been working for a while. So do you think that the time you put into work actually reduced the time you could have spent with your husband? As a wife, we're talking about as a wife now.
No, well, he works too. so he's at work when I'm at work, and
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, I think we, in terms of the husband now, as a and maybe this is already on your question. You're planning to cover this, but are there times when I've felt like work has taken me away from my kids? Yes.
Oh, the kid. No, we are going
Yeah,
to
that's to get to the kids.
I'm
Okay, so
talking
this is
the
about my
husband,
my
yes.
husband. I have never felt that way.
And he has
because-
never mentioned
and
anything
he's
like
never
that.
he's never brought it
Okay.
up. So.
Okay, so I have some question to you. Do you feel like work has taken you further from your husband than necessary?
No, not at all. Because even when I'm not home, when I'm not in the States and my job has taken me, to travel outside of my state, we stay in constant communication. So, we do FaceTime, anything that would just make
To
sure
get
that I'm
together.
in constant
Yeah,
communication.
yeah,
Just for me to, he's the last person that I speak to before I go to bed.
right.
And if I don't hear from him, or if he doesn't hear from me, oh, we just have to make sure we talk. Because it's hard when you have to leave your home to
Mm-hmm.
go work sometimes. You know what I mean? So, but you have to do all you can just to make sure that that person feels wanted and feels needed. You know what
Even
I
when you
mean?
are not there,
So,
yeah, even though you are not there, you still
exactly. Yeah,
create that
exactly.
ambience. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So this way you're not feeling guilty leaving your husband or your home to go work. So
Yeah, that's true. Coincidentally, yesterday I was scrolling through Netflix trying to see what I could watch, and I stumbled on a movie. Sarah Jessica Parker. I don't know how she do it. That was that. Have you seen it?
I have.
Yeah, you have. Yeah. So she had to be juggling a lot of things. She was traveling a lot. At times there was a Thanksgiving that she had to travel. Her boss just called her out of nowhere, and her daughter was crying and said, "You just got back. You just came back." And she got on the plane and she started crying. She cried and cried because obviously she was trying to make life better for her family, but then she was still missing out. So now I
yeah.
want to talk about feeling guilty leaving the kids behind.
Yeah.
Has that ever happened to you? Feeling guilty
Well,
because you have to go work or something.
you heard me already veering into that
Yeah.
because especially as a young mom I felt there was periods of guilt there with how I balance work and home. I think over time you get better at it, and there's the whole idea of women balancing, and I say you don't balance it, you just make sure that none of the balls you're juggling
Juggling.
fall at any given time. But I think you have to sort of make sure that if there's a period where you're pulled more at work, you make sure that you pull on your support system to make sure that the home front is okay, and then pivot back to home to make sure that the kids are okay.
Okay.
That happens.
Thank you. So I have some question to you. Have you ever felt guilty leaving your kid behind just to go work? And as in, I mean, it's work. So on the scale of preference, let me play the devil's advocate. On a scale of preference, don't you think, okay, let me just pick my child and not go? Do you do you feel guilty leaving him behind just to go work?
Oh, absolutely. I felt guilty the very first time that I had to leave my child. Then that was my first child. I've never had any experience, as a mother before.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I think I cried that very day leaving him. But you know what? My husband made me feel better. He was like, "You're still coming back, and
Yeah.
I'm here. Your mom is here. Everybody's here. Nothing's gonna happen to him. So you have to do you. You have to make sure that you have to trust me to make sure that
Mm.
okay, I'm holding the fort
Yeah.
down even when
Yeah.
you're not here.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
So
have to make sure I'm holding.
having a solid support system will make
Oh
it
yeah,
easier. Yeah.
oh yes, it's the
Yeah.
most important thing in every relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah,
So
having
my
a
husband
solid.
took all that guilt away.
Mm-hmm. As in the ball you drop, there's someone to pick it up. It's when there's no one to pick it up
Exactly.
that it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. So, Abby, I'm still going to come back to you. Have you ever felt like your
Mm-hmm.
spouse doesn't want you to work? I don't think I should be asking you that question because you've given us a view of your husband. So, anyway, I'm still going to ask you. Do you feel like there are times your husband resents the fact that you're working?
You know what? It's so funny because my husband, he's the biggest advocate for women to go out there and work. As for me, I can tell you that, he's always encouraged me to be the better me. Make sure you do anything that works best for you. I'm here to support you. And even when I came to him, because there was a situation that happened, I think 2000, I can't even remember what year, but I just got so overwhelmed with work that I said, you know what, I need to step away. I can't do this anymore. And I told him, I came home and I told him, I said, I need a year off. I told him, he was like, what? Wait, what? You are stopping working? Because he thinks that I love work so much
Working.
that I can't stop working. But when I came to him and I told him that I think I'm having a mental breakdown, I need to step away and just focus on me right now, especially I want to try to finish my master's. And he was like, you know what, I've always told you, whatever you need, just tell me and I'm here to step up the game and, fill the void that, maybe I know because masters can be hard, but I'm here to support you any kind of way, but he's always told me, I feel like a woman should go out there and work
Yeah.
because it's always good. Yeah, it's always good, when you're spending your husband's money, but it's even better when you
When
spend
you're
your own
spending your
money.
yeah. Yeah.
When you're spending your own money, and that's just his belief, and I'm so blessed to have a man like that to always encourage me, not to want to just stay home and not do anything. He encourages me to go out there and be the better me and just do whatever makes you happy,
Yeah.
you know.
So lucky you. You're so lucky. Yeah. You're so lucky. So basically your husband is your cheerleader.
Oh my God, my
Yes.
biggest cheerleader.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. So I can same question to you. Have you ever felt any form of resentment from your husband because you're working?
No, no.
So
And
both
it's
of you are
I
lucky. You have
know,
to
I
guess that are
know.
lucky today.
Yeah.
I do realize that it is a blessing to have someone
Yeah,
that cheers
yeah,
you
it
on,
is.
Yes.
and will step
Yes.
up to support you, or I mean, we had to make a very big decision, which I think is coming up in your question. I feel like I'm going to preempt this, but we had to, my company was moving me from where we lived, and he owned his own practice in that state at the time. And I said, like, I can't make you shut down your practice. But it was a great opportunity for me. And he said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, let me look around for a different job at the time, because it was almost like you have to go or essentially leave the company.
You have to go or you go.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And I found a job. It was lower than what I was
Right.
doing, but I was like, well, it'll be here. And he looked at me and he said, no, like
Oh.
it's way below you. You
Oh,
can't
wow.
do that. And he supported the move. So yeah, totally my cheerleader.
Okay, then so I
But-
think we should just sink into the next question with this. There is a question I have here that said, should you take a lucrative job that will make you live away from your family, but will make them more comfortable financially?
So I thinking about that question. I mean, this move, yes, it was more financially rewarding, but his push for me to take it wasn't because it was financially rewarding. He
Okay.
thought it was more intellectually rewarding for me.
Oh,
That was
wow.
something was
Oh, wow.
that he's always thought is very
Wow.
important to me.
Your intellectual growth
Yes,
is more important.
and that's what that was the driver. So we lived apart for a while. I went with the kids, and he stayed back to finalize the practice, or like slowly wind down the practice. Um, but I think, I mean, so my background, my mom moved to the U.S. to be able to then bring us here from Nigeria, and we lived apart for about 4 years. And so it was a similar thing where my father was very supportive of her to go. I think it is, again, back to where you started your question on what is the role of the woman.
Yeah.
It is that partnership. If you sit down together with your husband, and that is the best path forward for your family, looking at your future. I mean, it's like a corporation, right? You're looking at the balance sheet and the income statement of that corporation and saying, what is the
Absolutely.
best outcome? What is the best investment? And if it is for a period of time to be apart, as long as you understand what that means, so, we have we had a praying time that we called and FaceTimed and prayed together with the kids
Yeah.
when we lived
You still
apart.
kept that chain
You
of
have to-
communication.
Yeah,
but
so
still-
it's about
Yeah.
it's your corporation, which is your home. Like, what is the best outcome for your family?
Thank you. Okay, so Abel, let me ask you the same thing question, but I'm going to flip it so that we don't, it's not as if we are just talking about women. So now, would you advise a man to take a more lucrative job that will take him further away from the family? What would you tell a woman that comes to meet you and say, okay, my husband wants to move out of state, say move to Raleigh or somewhere further away from Houston, and I have kids, we have 4 kids, we have 3 kids, we have 5 kids, I don't know how to juggle it, I don't want him to go. What would you tell such a woman?
So basically, I will tell such a woman it's a decision that both of them will have to come to agreement with. You cannot just say, oh no, you can't go. No, it has to be a joint effort, and you have to look at the broader picture. If it's going to make your family better, then accept it. Accept your husband, to go out there to accept that lucrative job. And then, maybe in the long run you can even decide that, okay, we're going to move our family to where my husband is. So I feel like it's a joint decision that has to be made between the husband and the woman.
Why?
I don't want a woman to be selfish and say, "Oh no, because your job is taking you away." No, we shouldn't look at it that way. It's a joint decision that has to be decided, that has to be agreed upon between the husband and the woman and the wife. Because it's for the betterment of the family, right? For us to take a lucrative job.
Okay, so now
So that's my whole.
let me flip it again. I can. So
Okay.
if your husband, let's not say it's not a job, maybe the husband is still even in the same city, but needs to leave the house more. Like maybe go run the job more, go do the job. Okay, let's take a startup into consideration. Like now, there are a lot of sacrifices that need to go into a startup business. So now, how as a woman, how best would you advise them to handle that situation?
Again, it's all about communication, right? And really taking that partnership as seriously as, it is a partnership. So I told you, my husband was working. He's a
Yeah, like
physician.
that's a perfect because
Yeah.
he has his own business.
And he didn't start out that way. He was working in a group, and the owner of the group passed away suddenly, and all of a sudden he was jobless.
Oh wow.
And he had this opportunity to start his own practice, like he found a place, but we knew, like, he's an OBGYN, which means if you're a solo practitioner, like, you are on call whenever the woman wants to give birth,
Yeah.
right, which can be anytime. And so it was an understanding that, he will be gone a lot, but in my mind, it was the time to build up his practice, get to a place where he can then get a partner, and that will change, right? So if it is, it's getting in that, sitting together, talking through it, realizing it's for a season, You know, if it's forever, then that's a different thing.
Yeah.
But most times it's for a season.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a job where I was trading with the market, and so I had to like be gone early in the morning, and he stepped up. Or I had to actually I went back.
Someone had to step
exactly.
up when the ball drops.
I went back to business school after having my first two children, right, and they were pretty young. And my second year, you know, we decided he was just going to stay home with them for the most part and do like what's called locum. So he was taking like jobs every now and then depending on my schedule.
Oh.
So it's a partnership. Like,
wow.
so if you take that role knowing that, you know, he will do the same for you, and it's all about the home, the corporation,
front, the big picture.
and what optimizes your balance sheet, like what optimizes the that home. So
Wow, thank you so much. So Abel, let me ask you the same thing. How do you think women, because I know most times on this show we just talk about building up women, and at times it seems as if we are going after the men, actually. So I'm just trying to be a man today and to say, what do you think a woman should do? How do you think a woman can help, especially a startup business? Like she just said that her husband had a lot of role to play. Suddenly they didn't plan for it, it just happened. And then she had to, I think, pick up most of it. Yeah, she had to step in. So what is your own opinion about that? Do you think we should learn to pick up the ball when it's dropped, or should we just say it's his job? So let him do everything himself.
No, not at all. I couldn't have agreed with her more because, again, it's a partnership. That's what a marriage is all about. And for me, for instance, I told you that my husband picked up he filled the void when I told him I'm gonna take a year off
Yeah.
to just finish my master's and just concentrate and just, get back to knowing me again. And likewise me, if the same thing happened when he wanted to finish his master's, I picked up the role. I told him, just let me know if you need to step away from work or if you need to quit your job. And, and I picked up the role and we both bettered each other doing so because he did it for me. Why not? Why can't I do it for him? So I completely agree.
Yeah.
With
yeah. So to me too, I believe that is what a partnership is about. When I'm down, you should be up. When you're
you pick
down,
me up.
I should be up. Yes. Like we should be able to like try and balance things out for the other person. It's just like writing an exam. You need time to read. You need time to study.
Exactly.
And then your husband, I will expect him to pick up and do more because you need more time to read. So I think we need to just balance each other out
and talking through that communication.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
And you know what too? Adu? I feel like when you do that, when you have a partnership in the marriage, it gives that woman and the man like kind of it balances your mentality because it can when you don't have the partnership that you crave for in a marriage, then it starts to affect you in the front. So whereby it starts bleeding outside of your marriage, it bleeds into your work, it bleeds into your relationship outside. So partnership within a marriage, it's so important that we don't really focus on that so often. But I feel like when you have that strong partnership with your husband, or you can conquer the world.
Oh wow, thank you so much. Yeah, I actually think that's what marriage is about anyway. Partnership. That's what marriage is about. Thank you so much. So let me move on to the next question, Abel. Let me ask you this. Do you think at times women do too much? Do you think they juggle too much? They do too much at times on a daily basis?
Well, yeah, sometimes. For me, I feel like I do too much. But you know what? It changes when you know that you have a supportive husband. I keep going to back. I keep going back to that. When you say too much, it depends on too much that you're referring to. It really does depend for you as a woman. For me, weighing me down. Oh, I know that I can easily cry out that and say, "Honey, I need your help. I need your help," and he steps up.
Oh wow, yes. the cry for help should, you, if you're sure you're going to get the reply when you cry for help, that's
Yeah.
a good thing. That's a big thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I need help and it's
Exactly.
there to help.
Yep.
Not
Yep.
you're the woman, do it. Are you not a woman? Our mother do it. Our mother did it. Why are you not doing it? That's the one I'm like, fuck, I'm
And
like,
I'll give you an example too, or no, I'll give you an example. When we first got married and we bought a house, and when we moved to Georgia, to Georgia, and we bought our house, we were working, he was working, I was going to school, he was going to school, I was, the same thing that we were all doing. And at the end of the week, we will split our duties in the house. It wouldn't be me that, okay, because I'm the wife, I'm supposed to cook, I'm supposed to clean, I'm supposed to do all this. No, he'll come to me and he'll be like, Abby, what do you need me to do? Do you want me to cook this weekend,
wow.
or do you want me to clean? And I'll just tell him whatever. What do you want me to? What do you feel like doing? He'll be like, I love to cook. I'll cook for you. And then I'll say, okay, I'll clean. And even with that cleaning, because he loves cooking, when he's done, he'll come to me. Yeah, he'll still come to me and say, Abby, do you want me to clean upstairs or do you want me to clean downstairs?
wow.
And I'll just tell him. That's just what I feel like marriage is all about. That is what makes marriage more enjoying.
Yeah. You're so lucky. You're so, and our husband is an African man, by the way. Before you start
I
thinking,
know, right?
you must, before you start thinking maybe he's an American. No, I know her husband. He's an African guy. So
Oh yes,
yeah.
yes,
So
yes,
that's a good one.
yes.
So let me ask you the same question. Do you think, as a woman, use yourself as an example, do you think you juggle too much at times? But before you answer that question, let's just go on a short break and then we'll be back. Welcome back to the show, guys. So before we went on that break, I asked a kind of question about, I've forgotten the question, sorry. Let's go back, I think.
Do you think we do too much?
I've forgotten the question I asked before we went on the break.
Do you think women do too much?
Okay, thank you.
We struggle too much.
Yeah. All right, welcome back, guys. Before we went on that break, I asked that kind of question. I was asking her if she feels a woman do too much. In fact, I was asking her to use herself as an example. Have there been time when you felt as if you're doing too much?
Absolutely. I think there are times when I have felt it's a lot.
Exhausting,
Yeah.
like overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And all that.
And Abby said, go back to that partnership, find your support system. There are times, when it's been a lot for both of us. So he had a lot going on for a while. We were living in different cities, so he could not even be there certain times to help. And I think it's important that women build a solid partnership at home, but also live in community with others. So for me, it's been very important. I've moved around a lot because of my job, unfortunately. But it's always been very important that wherever I go, I find the right community to plug into. There's some of those times that I've moved without my husband, but with the children. And so I start with my neighbors. I start with, the activities that the children are with. And I start with my church, a church home.
As an African, that's one fall back on.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think the partnership at home needs to be strong. But I think as women, we desire a lot of community, and sometimes I don't know if my husband at least is not able to fulfill the girl talk I want to have with friends. And so I do think that it's important that as women we find that sense of community and truly be friends to other women and use that support system. I'll tell you, with my neighbors now, there are times when their kids are over because they need to have a call, especially when the school was being run from home. They needed to have a call. They needed the house to be quiet, so the kids did schooling at my house, and my kids did schooling at them. So it's important to have that sense of community as well to boost.
So basically, build relationships. Yeah. I have always been a firm believer of relationships. Build relationship, sustain the relationship, maintain the relationship.
Absolutely.
Don't just throw relationships away, because At times, the life itself can swallow you up
Yes.
if you are not
Oh
careful.
yeah,
At times it can just like show
absolutely.
that you could just feel as if you are losing your breath. But then if you have a strong support system, if you've built relationship, someone you could just call on and say, oh, can I drop the kids off? I need to take like 30 minutes to just you know to
Recenter.
just yeah, recenter, refocus, so yeah, that's true. Thank you so much. So Abel, let me ask you this. No, I know you, I know your husband. I know to a certain level you are comfortable. So would you say, like, if you got an offer of a job that will take you out of your home, even though you don't need the money, should you take it as a woman? You don't need the money, but then there's this job that will fulfill you intellectually, like I can say, or but that will fulfill your purpose. Should you take such jobs, even though you don't need the money?
Mhm. Again, this has to be a decision between the husband and the wife. You have, if you get the position, I mean, if you get the offer, definitely you want to talk to your husband about it, and it has to be in agreement with it. That's just my take on it. If he does not agree with it, then why take something that is going to be lucrative for you intellectually or financially, but your husband is not happy about it. But my own husband, he's different. I can't talk for other people. What he's going to take from
Yeah.
me, he might not take it for another person. So it really does vary. But I feel like if you get an offer and you really really do want it, then you have to bring it to your husband. And women, we know how to sweet talk our husbands
Yeah,
to make them
yeah.
do what we really want to do. And then you have to pray about it. Just because that job is lucrative, that doesn't mean it's going to bring you peace. That doesn't mean it's going to fulfill all the things that you want it to fulfill in your life. Yes, it could be intellectually great, it could be financially great, but in the long run, what is it going to do to your marriage?
To
What
the
is it
big
going to do
picture.
to you as a person?
Okay, thank you so much. So I can same question, but let me flip the question.
Mhm.
Now I've had some men say that working fills an emotional void in some women. So what do you think about that statement? Now, if taking that job will actually fill a certain need, will fill up that space that you're feeling emotionally, should you take it as a woman?
I agree with Abby about it being a discussion, and I think again, when you think about your home as a corporation and you're trying to optimize everything about it, the mood of a woman in a home, you talk about boss lady earlier, sets the tone of the
Of the
home.
home, yeah.
So if
Yeah.
emotional void makes it sound like it's taking the place of God in your heart. So
No,
I'm going
God,
to step
no.
away from
No,
going to step
no,
away
no,
from
no,
that
no,
word,
no,
just
no, no.
just to be
No.
let's so I'm going to break that word down a little bit just so that
Yeah.
it can help women understand. If it feels a need, right? If it feels if it feels a part of you, right? So I have one of my younger sisters loves to travel, right? And now she's started her family, and her job sends her away every now and then, and that was a big part of her and her husband agreeing that that was the right job for her. Is it an emotional void? I wouldn't call it an emotional void.
it
It's
feels
part of
something.
it feels something in her, and so it helped her. Because it's important that women don't lose the sense of themselves
Themselves.
as they raise their kids, or as they come into this partnership, because part of why your husband was attracted to you was
You.
something about your personality, and then you go into the relationship and you lose yourself in the raising of the kids, and people wonder why he fell out of love with or they
Yeah,
fall out of
yeah.
love with each other. So it's important that you maintain your sense of self. Now, does that mean it's not a selfishness maintaining a sense of self? It's a maintaining your sense of self because it brings something again to that corporation, which is your home, right? So it brings something to that partnership that is important. So if your job if it feels helps you stay intellectually stimulated, if it helps you be financially a good partner, if it helps you just being with other adults, like, helps you just stay
Makes you
relevant.
grow, maybe spiritually,
Yeah,
physically, emotionally,
I
intellectually.
tell my kids, like, part of why I'm able to advocate for them in school and make sure that they get the education that is expected of them and teach them to be good advocates for themselves is, be going to business school and learning how to negotiate, right? So I mean, all of it, it's part of, again, optimizing that home. So
All right, thank you so much, Akan. So, Abba, what do you think about that? Do you think working fills an emotional void in a woman?
I completely agree with Atkins, honestly, because for me as a woman, going to work, I want to feel relatable, you know, with other women, because there are some things that you feel like maybe you might be going through, and you're not comfortable enough to share with, or to bring it to your husband yet. And you go out there and you see other women talk about it, and you can learn from other women. And I feel like, going out there to work as a woman as well, you learn a lot. Not just you just staying at home and just taking care of the kids, cooking, cleaning, doing homework with the kids and everything. You will get burnt out doing those things. I'm not saying that the people doing all those things are not worthy to be praised. I'm just saying, as a woman as a whole, if you, and I guarantee you, that woman staying home doing all those things, if you allow her to go out there to work and be relatable, to talk to other women, I guarantee you that woman will not want to stay home anymore to do all the things that she's doing at home. She's still going to continue to do those things, but you know what? She's out there now. She can relate with other women. This way, it's good for your mentality as well. So this way, you can air off. I'm not saying that because me and my husband, we have a good working relationship at home. That doesn't mean we doesn't fight. We don't fight or whatever. But when I go out there, I'm renewed. My energy is even more renewed to come back home. Talk to him about, oh my God, guess what happened today at work? Guess what? I mean, get this, get that. And it makes you feel more comfortable coming back home and chit chat with your husband what you saw out there, or what you've been through at work. So I feel like, yes, working fills some kind of void in a woman's life.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Now it depends on the void that's there. Actually, depends on what you're trying to fill. It depends on what you're trying to. Yeah, because I know some women, just like myself, I like traveling. In fact, I've been pining away. I've been telling them that I need to go on vacation. I want to go on vacation, so I like traveling. Now, imagine me getting a job that would take me out everywhere, all over the world. Of course, I want to jump on it. I want to jump on it because it's to an extent, it's feeling something I love. Yeah, so I understand. So now you Abby, you
And
said something.
you know what? Too working, I feel, for the sake of sanity.
Yeah,
For a
yeah,
woman,
yeah.
because yeah, for the sake of sanity, because we already do a lot in the household as a woman. Even if our husband is willing to help us, we feel like, oh no, I can do this, I can do that. But for the sake of sanity, going to work, it gives you that kind of cool headedness that will bring you back to your normal self, you know. And when you come back home, you know that, oh, I can do better, I can be better, I can advise this, I can introduce this, you know. That's just my own take on it.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So I want to ask you something because you mentioned burning out, to avoid burning out. So do you think it's good for women to just like take days off and just say, I'm just going to go away by myself, take care of the kids, take care of the home front. I don't care what happened, I'm just going to go away. Do you think a woman should do that? And not feel
Well,
guilty about it, and not feel guilty about actually taking that time off.
absolutely. You have to talk to your husband about it, and you have to be in agreement with it, because if you just, okay, I'm going away. What if your husband doesn't have the luxury to see that void at that very time, that you just want to up and go away? Then that means you're being selfish to your own partnership with your husband. It's not that he's not going to agree for you to just up and go. I mean, for you to just go and just maybe for the weekend, you just need to be by yourself and just relax. It's
Mm-hmm.
just, it has to be the right timing. You have to discuss it with your husband. You have to talk to him and say, you know what? I feel like I need a woman, to just to renew my strength. And he has to look at the schedule, juggle things around and say, oh yeah, I think maybe next month, this weekend, you
Can
can
do
go and just
this.
have a nice time by yourself and for yourself.
All right. Thank you so much, Abby. So, do you agree?
Oh,
Because I can see you
absolutely,
shaking your head. Yeah.
absolutely. I think it's important that like I said before, the woman's mood sets the tone of the house a lot, and so if you need that self care, take it. But of course, like discuss it. Take agree with your husband on the right
So
timing.
communication can actually can
Um,
never be
oh yeah,
overemphasized because communication
Nope,
is the
not at
key.
all.
Is
absolutely.
actually the key. So
Nope.
I want to ask you,
Mhm.
Akan, have you ever felt tired or discouraged juggling everything together? Have you ever felt like the burning out we're talking about?
Mm.
Was there a time you felt like I'm running low? Like we call it, your battery is dying.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I think my last role switch at work, I just kept going, and we moved to Houston, and the house hunt was difficult, and I think um, again, it's going back to the principles we've talked about. So of course, the communication with your husband. For me, it's sort of making sure that I'm spiritually like centered as well. Realizing that I need to spend time with the Holy Spirit. Like
Yeah.
if not, I just go out of kilter. Um, and starting to build that outside community, so you can lean on that as well. So it's all we've talked about already. So there are times, of course, it's a ups and downs kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
life. So
yeah. You have your good days, you have your bad days, you have the
Mhm.
even if you're not working, like a stay-at-home mom, there are days you just feel as if there are days you're overwhelmed.
Yeah.
You're just like overwhelmed. And I remember one of my friends one day, she just left everything, got on the couch and just slept off. She didn't even care what was going to happen to the kids. She just felt like she needed to just sleep at that time, and she slept. And these kids were screaming. She took the pillow, put it on her ears, and she's like, I'm just going to sleep. Whatever happens, happens. So, yeah, Abel, let me ask you the same thing. Have you felt overwhelmed before? You felt as if, like, I can do this right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There has been a time that I was so overwhelmed that I told my husband, I said, you know what? I think I need to go away for a minute. And he was like, okay, is there anything I can help you with? Is this me that you're being over? I said, no, I think it's just everything all together. And we talked about it, and we talked about how to even manage it better in order for me not to be so overwhelmed,
Hmm.
you know, quite often or going forward.
Hmm.
So yes, as a woman, you will be overwhelmed.
So
That's just
let me
something
ask
that
you,
we.
how did you pull through? How did you get through those periods? Was there something in particular you
Oh,
did that pulled you through?
oh no, my husband, he was just right there. When I told him, he said, "Okay, where do you want to go?" And I told him, I said, "I think because I love to travel, just like I
Hmm.
could." I mean, just like you.
Yeah.
And I just told him, I said, I think I want to go to California for maybe for like a whole week. And luckily for me, my job was sending me out there for just one day, but I stressed out my day to be a week. And I told
Okay.
him, I said, I'm gonna be here for a whole week, and luckily, he was working from home at that time, so that worked out perfectly. And I was able to renew my strength and come back home and, felt good again to pick it back up where I left off.
Mm. So I should ask you that as well. Those times, those periods where you felt burnt out, what did you do? Was there something in particular you did that pulled you through?
Well, I think, one of the things I actually should have, when we first started, I should have said, it's important that women really take time to sort of know themselves,
Hmm.
right? And know what is important to them. Because the question about working or not working, working part-time, working full-time, it really goes back to what fills you, right?
Yeah.
What you
Fulfill
need,
you.
what fulfills you, what you think your purpose is. So it's important that women step back and figure out, exactly who they are and what fulfills them. I mean, because I have you know, if you're an extrovert, like taking a day off is not going to replenish you, right? But going and maybe hanging out with friends or something will replenish you. But if you're an introvert, taking that day off is important. And so for me, over time, I've realized that the most important thing for me is reconnecting with God. So you know, when I feel overwhelmed, it's stopping and journaling, spending a lot of time with God. I do talk, you know, I'll talk to my husband about it. I have older kids now that sort of understand, so I do talk to them about, I could talk to them about it. But I think it's finding out what's important to you as a woman. Yeah. So spending time in worship helps reset me. That's something that I've learned over time. So I'll tell women, be patient with yourself. Take the time to figure out what replenishes you.
Know yourself. Yeah. Find out about yourself. We really don't do that as women, especially African women.
Oh yeah.
We really
because
don't,
you have,
you're
running. Spending time, and using your partner as that mirror. So Abby was talking about, going to your partner and saying, I feel overwhelmed, and maybe like troubleshooting that a little bit with your partner to figure out, okay, what does he think will help, and do you agree, and having that conversation. And then for me, journaling helps. So I write through like what is it that's heavy on my heart, and then just realizing that I've been through it before, you're gonna come through on the other side. But there are times, again, one last thing, going back to that greater community, if it's calling my sisters or calling some friends and just talking through it. So spend time.
Yeah, some women, you just talk. They just need to just release, just talk. Yeah. I don't want to call it whining.
No, just talking through it.
It's just talk like gists.
Yes.
Yeah. Gist, like just gisting.
Yeah.
You can just gist, you can just say, oh, okay. And then you take a deep breath and you feel a sigh of relief that, okay, everything is out. So, like Akan said, you need to find out who you are, find out what works for you, find out what fulfills you, find out what fills you up. For me, ironically, I used to be a very quiet person. I really I bottle things in. I keep things inside. But recently I found out that talking is actually good. It's actually therapeutic. Because once you just let it out, you feel lighter, you feel better. And there's really nothing coming out to bite you, unexpectedly. So that's something you should, it took me a while for me to find that out. So I'm not saying it's something that will just happen. You just need to know who you are and find out who you are. So let me ask you a question, Abby. For women, we know there are a lot of women who are struggling with what we've been talking about the whole day. It's actually a big issue for them right now. What advice would you give them?
Communication. Communicate with your spouse.
What about sorry for cutting you short. What about those that don't have partners, like maybe single mom or widows, or we have a lot of women out there, those that don't have partners?
Okay, so for the sake of those that don't have partners,
yes,
you have to find your community, and you have to be able to study the people around you. The people around you are the people that can support you when you need the support. Are the people that will pick you up when you're down. You have to keep that at the back of your head, because if you have that, because they say as a good thing, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, to me, I say it takes probably a whole town to have for the people that don't have spouse, or the people that are widows. It takes a town, to breed that comfortability and more for that woman, because as a woman, I feel like what we've been doing, what we've been talking about, we do a lot. And if we don't have our help, especially in the house, and you can't find it out there, we break down easily. We break down easily. And you have to find that comfortability within yourself. For me, for instance, my husband, he brought me outside of myself, because I used to be very, very moody. I was a moody person. I feel like nobody could help me. I can't trust anyone. I can't talk to anyone. But when I met him and I started talking to him more, he makes me feel comfortable. And you just have to, you have to know yourself, and you have to know the kind of people that you can
That's
harbor
right.
around you. Are the people that will give you the words of wisdom? Are the people that will nourish you with the words of God when you do need it? Are the people that will pick you up from where you are to bring you to the level that you really do want to be? Not the people, you don't want to be around people that will bring you down or constantly talking negativity around you. No, you have to find your world. You have to kind of build your world around yourself and keep it and nourish it that way and appreciate those people in that your little world, because you don't want to burn bridges with anybody, especially the people that were there for you in your time of need. That has just been my own philosophy about life and as a
Wow.
woman.
Wow. Thank you so much. That handsome question. What advice would you give to any woman who is struggling, is going through all the things, all the questions we've talked about today? What would you tell them?
I think I'll start with be patient with yourself. It's it is difficult. I think we've laid that out that it is difficult. So I'll say be patient with yourself. Realize that anything worth doing and having takes effort. I think I couldn't agree more with Abe about building your community, being like intentional about that
Yeah.
community. We women, a lot of us, well, I should say I fear that word networking, but think about relationship as relationship building
I
and
need to
really
learn to start doing that
build
myself.
that,
I'm
build
not very
that.
good with networking.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. And then I would say one thing, set aside a day, and maybe it's New Year's Day, not to be cliche with New Year's resolutions, but really like think about your vision for life and try to lay it out. Habakkuk says, write the vision, make it plain. So be intentional about where you're headed, because if not, life could toss you up and down. So that when these difficult times come, when you feel overwhelmed, you can go back to something written, something in black and white, and say, okay, this is where I'm headed. This is who I am as a child of God, and then reset, refocus, because it gets overwhelming, even for the best of women out
Yeah.
there. So I say, write it down, make it plain, revisit it. Try, be patient with yourself. You're doing great. You're doing great.
Yeah, thank you so much to the both of you. Thank you. I will just add something to what they just said. Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
We cannot take care of yourself, because what I find out is we get so carried away with other people, our husband, our kids, and we let ourselves go. So, and then at times it actually becomes an issue in the marriage, because you do too much and you're not taking care of yourself, and then you just become like your husband's mother. You know what I'm talking about. So, so take care of yourself. We are not saying it's going to be easy. Like I usually say when I sit down here, nobody's coming out and saying this is going to be easy. No, you're just going to snap your finger and it's going to happen. No, they've all gone through their challenges. Same challenges they are going through right now, they've been through it. And that's why they can sit down here and talk about it. Everybody I bring on this show have experienced one thing or the other. They are working moms, their wives, their parents, they have kids, grown-up kids, and they are actually still pushing through it. But take care of yourself. So I just want to thank the both of you so much for doing this. I want to ask you, Abe, what's your final thoughts? What's the final word for us today?
Final word for that woman that is out there, just like Adam said, please do you make sure you take care of you. Even if it has to do with once a month, you go out there and have a simple mani and pedicure. Just to do yourself, whatever is going to make you happy. Make sure you stand tall and you own yourself. You are your own woman. Nobody's going to be your own woman for you. You have to be your own woman. Hold steady in what you have, and never forget that you have God as your backbone to fall back on. And just trust in God, and just know that whatever you're doing, even when you come to a roadblock, know that you can always knock on God's door. He's ready to listen, you know?
Uh, Thank you so much, Abe. So, Akan, you to your final thoughts.
Final thoughts, you will make it through. You'll be on the other side. It is
Yeah.
well with
It
you.
will get better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just stick
Yeah.
with it and
Yeah.
yeah, take care of yourself and remember you're a daughter of the Most High.
Yeah, yes. Thank you so much. So you're precious. You're precious in the sight of God. You're precious to your husband. You're
That's
precious to your
right.
family.
Yes.
And this is just a phase. It will pass.
Yep.
You will get out on the other side and you actually be the boss lady, you know. And then you can come out and talk about it yourself and say, yeah, I've been through that. I've done that, you know. It's actually, you're building your experiences.
That's right.
That's the way I tell people. That's what I tell people. You're building yourself up and then you're piling up the experiences, you know, so you can actually come outside and talk about it because you've lived it. So I just want to thank you, both of you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Abe, for sitting with us. We appreciate you spending your time with us this evening. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you, Akan. We are grateful. And we hope the next time we call you, maybe we'll come and talk about finance because you, both of you look like.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay, to the viewers out there, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for tuning in today. We hope you learned a thing or two. And like I usually say, like us on Facebook, on YouTube. It's Glimpse Extra Media on YouTube. And then Glimpse is on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. I've never mentioned that before. Yeah, I remembered that today. LinkedIn. And then RealTALK is also on Facebook. RealTALK is on Instagram. And then you can see all our videos on YouTube, Glimpse Extra. And then now there is a big news for our US fans. Glimpse Extra is on Roku. Woo! We are so excited about that. Yes, you can actually find us on Roku and you can actually watch all our shows, all the minstrel with Adeshola, Real Talk with Odun, Viewpoint. We have a lot of things coming up your way that you need to, you know, be getting ready for. They are actually hot topics that we'll be talking about on Glimpse Extra. So, like I also said last week, we have an app. You can download our app. It's Glimpse Extra on iOS. Glimpse X, yes, there's no extra, it's just Glimpse X. We are on iOS, you can download it also on Android. So on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, you know, I usually say that as well. Thumbs up, let us know we are doing something good. Let us know we are getting across to you guys. So thank you once again for joining us. Until next time when we come your way, hopefully I will bring the both of them back another time, but not next week. See you next week. Bye.